Alright, so we are still talking about polymorphism in C++, and today we are going to be looking at visual function. So for us to understand visual function, let's take a look at what we already have on our program. We have employee class that says get info, I am an employee of the company. Now we also have a driver class that gets info, displays something else. We have a doctor class that getInfo function displays something else. Now, let's say the getInfo in the employee, let's make a little change. Let's say we have another function that says getDetails, right? So this function getDetails is a public function, and then we will move the C out into this getDetails. So when you say getDetails, it's to say I am an employee of the company, right? And so on and so forth. Maybe my name is John, just for demonstration purposes, because normally we'll have an attribute called name that is assigned, but let's use this for demonstration purposes. Now, when we have getInfo, we don't want someone to use getInfo to just say I'm an employee of the company. It doesn't make any much sense. We want somebody to say I am a driver in this company, or I'm a doctor in this company, or I'm an accountant in this company. We want the getInfo to give a specific information about this user. So we don't just want get info that says I'm an employee. So let that be getDetails. So if one wants more details, he can use getDetails, and this can apply to um, wait, let's take it out. So it can apply to everyone. So the getDetails maybe is not necessarily very important because it's only when you really need to get much information which might not be necessary. Okay, so now what we want is the getInfo function should actually be based on what role this employee is playing. So the getInfo function should say I am, and then it says your job role. So you can't say getInfo to be I am an employee. So what it means is that the getInfo, we need to specify it in the superclass, which is in the main class employee. We have this getInfo, but we will not define a body of this function, right? So we don't want this getInfo to have anything to do. The only thing it's going to do is that the subclasses are going to inherit this function. And that brings us to visual function. A visual function, I'm going to write it. A visual function is a function that must be defined in the subclasses. So when I mark this function as visual, it means that whatever subclasses, for instance, I have driver, it must define this getInfo. So what it means is that if I take out this getInfo from here, code, we will have a problem if we try to run this code. It's not going to work because the driver object or the driver class is expected by contract to define or to provide an implementation for a visual function that is present in the superclass. So I hope you get the point. It's really very easy, although a little confusing, but it's very easy. So a visual function provided in the superclass must have implementation in the subclass, right? So it actually will not have any body because, any function body, because it's not doing anything. Whatever is going to be done by this is going to be done in the subclasses. So that is how it works. Let me just show you around on something else, and that is about using pointers. Now, if we want to uh, use pointers, let me just explain to you how it works. So we are saying drv.getInfo, it goes to the employee, there's the superclass to try to get the info. But now what we can do, we can use a pointer to do this. So let's create a pointer to the employee, to the driver object, and a pointer to the doctor object, or to the doctor object. So when I created this driver, I can just say employee d1 employee, let's say d1 equals address of drv. Okay, so what I'm doing now is that I've created an employee object, which is a pointer. It's not actually an employee object, an employee pointer that holds the address of the driver. So it means that this d1 points to this drv object, right? In the same way, I can create employee a pointer to doc or doc. Let's call it a pointer to, let's just call it d2, which is a pointer to the driver, to the doctor. So here we have a pointer to the doctor. So let me just see out some things. Let's see how it goes. So if I see out drv, if I say cout drv get info, now it's going to call, let me use endline to complete. It's going to call the get info of the driver object, and if I say cout drv doc get info, it's going to call the get info method of the doctor object. Now, if I want to use the get details from the superclass, I can just use these pointers that I have created. So I can just say d1, let me just use a cout, d1 dot, now I can now use get details. Yeah. So let me, so watch to see how the syntax works. So if d1 is a pointer and is trying to use the driver object, because d1 is a driver and this d1 is a pointer to this driver, so it's trying to use object of the pointer to display the function defined in the object it is referencing. So I hope you can just get your head around it, and this you can do by taking some time to write this by yourself and then seeing how it works. So I can do the same thing. So this is basically what we did before, but in a slightly better way to do things. So we have DOC, right? DOC. No, we call it D2 and not DOC. Right, so if I run this now, maybe let me go ahead to save it first. I save and then I go ahead to run and running. So proceed with launch. Proceed, yes, proceed. So we have some errors here. Not much for grunts. So let's take out this, shift this. Not much for operator. Okay, let me just go ahead to the clean. Okay, fine. So I think cleaning was a problem. So I'm going to just run field. So I'm going to build all. And it's giving me this nonsense error message. So okay, maybe says no match for parents string void. Where is this problem coming from? So wait, let's see. So everything is okay, I think. Let's build all. Let's go to rebuild. Let's rebuild. Let's run. Maybe I think I got something broken along the line. So this is quite strange. Okay, let's try to fix this in the next tutorial. Let me go offline and I'm going to solve this problem. Meanwhile, I'll have to thank you for watching.